You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. Wonderful to have you guys as well. Thanks for tuning in. We've got an amazing guest on the show. We're going to be talking about his newest book. And, of course, we have the greatest minds and authors on the show, and none of them are me. That's why we have guests on the Chris Voss Show. But we'll get to him in a second. In the meantime, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Remember, the Chris Voss Show is the family that dearly loves you, but doesn't judge you. At least not as harshly as your mother-in-law. She's a nice person, I hear. Anyway, guys, or refer the show to your family, friends. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss, goodreads.com/Chris Voss, the big LinkedIn group, LinkedIn newsletter, the 130,000 group over there. Check all that business stuff out. We certainly appreciate it. Oh, and the new AI podcast we've launched is a vertical AI, chrisvoss.com, AI podcast with Chris Voss. So there, check all that out over there. Today we have an amazing gentleman on the show. He's the author of the newest book that just come out April 11th, 2023. The Dealmaker, How to Succeed in Business and Life Through Dedication, Determination, and Disruption. Mauricio Umansky is on the show with us today, and he is the founder and CEO of The Agency, representing some of the world's top celebrities, developers, and resort brands. Along with his Netflix series, Buying Beverly Hills, he has appeared on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You may have heard of that show. I think a lot of people watch it. Yeah, there you go. With his wife of more than 27 years, Kyle Richards. She has 4 daughters. Count them. Holy crap. What do you have against boys? I'm just kidding. And The Dealmaker is his first book. Welcome to the show, Mauricio. How are you?
I am fantastic, Chris, and I'm really happy to be on the show with you. And I love the introduction. So I am ready to blow my brain off and blow everybody's brain off.
Well, let's do it. So give us a .com, wherever you want people to look you up on the interwebs to get to know you better.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram is mumansky18, and my website for the company is theagencyre.com.
There you go. So what motivated you on to write this book?
Well, I just wanted to create something, what motivated me? A lot of things motivated me. I have 2,500 people that work for me. I have 2,000 salespeople that work for me. And every day they come in and we talk about, motivating them and making them better salespeople. And then, when you're doing that, you ultimately become a little bit of a psychologist. And so all of a sudden, part of that motivation not only becomes, at work, but also, like how to, balance work life, how to, do things better, all of those type of things. And, one of the things that I realized was that I have kind of very simple philosophies about life, and they resonate with people. And so I said, I really want to, give back, put, my memoirs, my experiences, whatever you want to call them, on a book, and hopefully, inspire people, not necessarily teach them how to do something. This is not a how-to book. I did not want to write, the 7 steps to success. I didn't want to buy, the 5 steps to being.
I was talking about not wanting to create a book that was the 7 steps to success or anything like that, but rather, teaching people to be insightful about their own experiences and hopefully learn through some of my experiences. So I go on and I tell some really fun stories with some really fun people, Michael Jackson, Lady Gaga, selling the Playboy Mansion, all kinds of really, fun ways of doing it. But then I just simplify it. And once it gets simplified, I then give, a lesson that I learned because of that story that happened.
Damn.
And I just hope that somebody's going to learn a little bit, take a couple of those mantras. Every chapter at the end of the chapter has a mantra. And then I just hope that, the people reading it learn a little something and they have some insights. And it's been great. I've had amazing reviews, Chris. Amazing reviews so far. So I'm really excited.
I've seen those. They're awesome. You know, you mentioned about being a CEO and the psychologist aspect of it. I never knew owning companies that I would have to become a CEO or a psychiatrist to all my employees, especially my sales employees. It's quite eye opening. You're like, why do I have to solve all these fucking problems? Like,
it's pretty crazy, right? Well, and it also depends.
Psychiatrist at the office.
It also depends, I think, what business you're in, right? I run a sales organization, right? So my business is service and sales, right? Sales, marketing, and servicing. When you're dealing with that, you're dealing with a bunch of salespeople. You're inevitably going to be a psychologist. That's just part of life.
There you go. And you do have a lot of business motivational stuff in here, though. You
Yes.
have, like, at the end of every chapter, tell us about what you've packed in there.
Well, at the end of every chapter, I just decided to put some mantras. And the reason for that is just to kind of simplify and, kind of give the idea of at the end of the story, at the end of the chapter, at the end of what you've read, to let you know what I've learned from that story. And kind of just simplify it so that, if you ever want to go back to the book and just read the mantras and remember what some of those things were all about, not have to read the entire book again. That was kind of the idea of the mantras.
And I like the book. It reads a lot like Swim with the Sharks with, I forget his first name, Harvey. Very quick, very easy read, a lot of simple lessons, but unique stories and everything else. You've been was it 20, how many years was it been? 27 years you've been a real estate mogul, I think it was?
Yeah, plus or minus, I think since 25. 1996, yeah. Mm-hmm. So where are we right now? 2023, so yeah.
It goes fast. Luxury property business. What was it like selling the Playboy Mansion? I mean, all that shag and 70s motif.
It was so much fun, man. I mean, I love to do every, as many tours as I can of that house. I did them all. People just love to see everything, right? The shag, the Scooby-Doo, look, the grotto, the pool. It's an iconic house, right? And it was just so much fun. And obviously, look, the people that were seeing that house are people that could afford, 100 million plus. So, the buyer on the other side was also fun to show it to.
Yeah, I owned an acting and modeling agency in Utah for a lot of years, and my girls would go to the parties down there, and they would come back and tell me about the motif, and I'm just like, geez, does he have any money? He can get that upgraded.
It literally looked like there was one room that literally looked like the back of the Scooby-Doo van.
You gotta love it. Shag needs to make a comeback. Maybe you can do that in the luxury market. So you talk about a memoir. Tell us a little about you growing up and what shaped you and made you.
Yeah, I think a little bit of everything. I think it starts from being born with a terminal blood disease. And then, ultimately just surviving it kind of by luck, right? Not because of any other medical situation. You just either, back then, neutropenia was something you either survived or didn't. Now there's medicines that can keep you alive a lot longer. But to me, it all kind of just starts there, with the luck of living and the love of life. And from that, I ended up with a lot of love from my parents, from, a whole bunch of different people. That just gave me so much confidence, so much love. My grandparents, my grandpa in particular, my mom, my dad. And so that just kind of started to shape me, And then to add on top of that, we moved to Los Angeles from Mexico City, and my mother decided to become a psychologist. And so she started to go to school when I was probably around 8 years old, plus or minus. And she ended up, getting her not only her doctorate degree in psychology, but ultimately, I think 3 postdoctorate degrees in psychology.
Wow.
So my entire life, I grew up with a woman that was studying psychology, right? Mm-hmm. A mom, right? And you can imagine what that's like, right? But because of that, I also got a lot of insight. I learned a lot about the human behavior, the way that people think, and all of that stuff innately as a young kid. And not something that I had to go wait, until I was 25 to learn, but rather started to learn it and understand how to read a room, which I talk about in the book, understand how to read people, which I talk about in the book, which is so important for sales. And all of that just came early in my life, right? I didn't realize it was coming back then. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those things that I ultimately picked up on later in my life. I mean, when I was a kid, all I cared about was sports, but then I realized, certain aspects and innate aspects, and they're not innate because they were taught, right? They were just taught when I was a young kid. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, really fun way to grow up.
Understanding psychology really makes some of the greatest salesmen that I've ever worked with. Being able to understand human nature, how people sell, what motivates them, and it's a real big aspect. Just whether we're just dealing with other people or trying to sell to them. I think everyone's selling. That's my opinion as a salesman. I think everyone's always selling. They're selling each other. They're selling themselves. They're like, does this person like me? Am I being interesting? I'm doing it right now. So, what do you think about that?
I think we're selling all day long.
Yeah.
In any industry that you're in. I mean, at the end of the day, you're selling something. You're either selling a gadget or a service, or a SaaS model. Whatever it is that you're selling something, right? And not only in business, but also in life. I think you're always kind of selling, yourself. Mm-hmm. People, you want people to like you. You want friends. Like you're selling, right? It's a way of selling, right? And so, yeah, I think that we're just, natural born salespeople.
There you go. I always sell that I'm an asshole and people shouldn't like me, and for some reason they do. So it's that reverse psychology of sales is working for me.
That's a law of the attraction, my friend. Positive and negative, they attract.
There you go. So you got some beautiful photos of your journey through life and your family history and everything. You've studied psychology. You're surrounded by women. You have 4 daughters. You have a beautiful wife of many years. I think, was it 27 years?
27 years, yeah.
27 years. That's where I had the 27 from.
I got that number right. I know that number.
There you go. You better. Keep watching. And then you're on the set of Beverly Housewives. How do you handle? Does the psychology lesson you learned from your mother help you with manage all that estrogen?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I was just meant to be around women and girls. It's I'm so lucky. I got 3 of them that are now working with me at the company. We're doing that, and I just feel so lucky and blessed to have that, Chris. But with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I just let it go, man. It's not my show; it's my wife's show. It's all about the girls. It's a bunch of drama, and I'm just kind of the nice, supportive husband in the background, just letting all that shit go down. And I, my wife's always right. Let's be clear. It doesn't matter. She's always right. Okay. And that's just the best way to go through the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Anytime one of my married guys calls me, he's like, hey, the wife's doing this. And I'll be like, hey, you have 2 choices here, buddy. You want to be right or you want to be happy? You can only choose one.
Yep. Happy wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life. So tell us about let's get a plug in here for the Beverly Housewives. What season it is in, and how's it going, and how's it looking, and for the future?
Yeah, so the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, they're now in season 13, which is pretty amazing. And then we're also, just started filming season 2 for Buying Beverly Hills, which is on Netflix, and that's a show that is about our company. With me, with my 3 daughters, with my 2 daughters, I should say, sorry. And it's just, a ton of fun to do. So that's more of a business show than the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
There you go. Anytime I watch it, I'm like, I wonder if they'll take a check. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll take a check.
I
just don't want it made out of rubber.
Yeah, probably. I've seen those houses. They're beautiful and elegant, but it's extraordinary. The luxury real estate market, homes in LA. I mean, it's a great thing. Now, with your agency, do you guys do homes around the nation or the world, or you just focus on the market of California?
Yeah, thanks for that question. No, we are around the globe. We currently have, I think, 85 offices around the globe.
Nice.
We service primarily, obviously, the U.S., and we're headquartered out of Los Angeles and Manhattan, in New York. Mm-hmm. And then, we're starting to build, the in-between cities. And then we also service Mexico, Canada, the Caribbean, and now just starting to to open up offices in Europe, which is really exciting with our offices in Amsterdam, Portugal, and growing. Oh, and we have one in Mallorca in Spain right now.
There you go. Are you in that place no one's really heard of, Dubai? You in that Dubai yet?
We're not in Dubai yet, but don't be shocked that next time we talk, I'll tell you we're there.
Yeah, they have some expensive stuff over there. Right here, we've had some people.
Well,
on
and the real estate there is flying off the shelves. You can't keep it on the shelves. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And the tax situation is pretty good too. I hear.
Well, it's definitely not good in California, Chris. Where do you live?
I'm up in Utah right now, but normally Las Vegas. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So you like good. You like good tax states.
Yeah, I don't like paying state tax. I'm kind of against that. I lived in California for 3 years. I went back. I grew up there, but after a while, I'm like, I can buy a mansion in fucking Vegas for what it costs to live in an old.
The state tax alone, yeah.
Yeah, the state tax alone is like whatever. So yeah, I like Vegas. Plus, 24 hours of everything you want when you're a single.
Vegas is fantastic. We have an office in Vegas and we love it there. We're handling a couple of different developments. Ascaya is one of them. And I'm sure you're familiar with that. And we have a great office in Vegas.
Yeah, it's a beautiful town, and it just gets more beautiful. Although I'm not happy with the real estate going up, but it is what it is. I guess you just have to roll with it.
There's no choice.
Yeah. Plus, I'm a Raiders fan, so it was like a dream come true.
Oh, how lucky you, fan! Yeah.
Now, if I could just get them to win a game, and I wouldn't have to hide all the sharp knives on Sundays. What else haven't we touched on in your book that you shared? Yeah, I mean, you've written a lot of great segments in here where people can get these really great bite-sized, chewy business knowledge information.
Yeah. I mean, look, I have a bunch of concepts. They're all philosophies. They start off with the standard of, Napoleon Bonaparte, the great general, used to say to his staff, and I have little things that that just trigger me, and from there I do everything, right? But he used to say to his staff before he would prepare for battle, "Dress me slow because I'm in a hurry," right? Like, what does that mean, right? Like, don't make mistakes. Back when he would get, that was a complicated dressing, in order to put on that, general's outfit, right? And so the idea is, let's not make mistakes. Let's get it done right the first time. Let's do it right. And let's get to the end faster rather than making a whole bunch of mistakes, right? Think about that, and just like you're a salesman, you're late for an appointment, you're running late, you're speeding, you run through a red light, you get stopped by a police officer and you're later, right? You made a mistake, right? Like rather than just getting there, right?
Especially if you didn't pay those warrants.
Especially when you didn't pay those warrants, right? Or God forbid, you're late to get home to your wife and, you're speeding and you had a couple of drinks. Now you're really late.
Or if you stop at the mistress's house, you're going to be in trouble.
So I live by that philosophy and I talk a lot about that in the book. And then, I refer to that in terms of making decisions in business, right? Like, because in business, we have to make a lot of decisions. We have to make them fast. So I try to not, procrastinate, so I take my time, I make a decision, and then I live by another Kabbalistic philosophy, which is called certainty versus doubt. Once you make a decision, have 100% certainty in your decision and just go for it. Never doubt yourself, because when you start doubting, you start going back and forth. You don't do anything, right? So I'm slow to make a decision, but once I make it, we're in. We're 100% in, and we have 100% certainty, right? So that's one, philosophy that I talk about.
That's really important. I see a lot of people that would come to me and they go, "Hey, Chris, I want to start my own business." And I'm like, "Okay, great, do it." And they're like, "Well, I'm waiting until the time's right." And, and then years go by and they're like, "Have you started that business yet?" No, we're just waiting for everything to be perfect. You're like, dude, you just have to do it, man. It's
never perfect, right? And I talk about that too in terms of starting businesses and, try to start businesses that you're passionate about, right? Because a lot of the times people are they just don't have the passion. And so my whole point is like, have passion, because if you have passion, work's not work. Work's fun. Yeah. Right. Like, I mean, I can tell you one of the things I talk about in my book is, I get home every day and my wife says, "How was your day?" And I'm like, "It was amazing." And she's like, "Fuck, man. Like, how can every day of your life be amazing? Like, that doesn't work." Right. And I'm like, well, I love what I'm doing. It is amazing. Like, even on the bad days, when you're solving something, it can still be amazing. Like, bad doesn't have to be bad. Bad can be good.
Yeah. When you do what you love, it changes the game. Because it's so hard to be an entrepreneur. It's 24/7. You live it, you breathe it, you dream it. It's hard.
It's very hard, but it's also very satisfying. And like, and when you are an entrepreneur, it really doesn't become hard because, again, it's part of who you are, right? It's part of your DNA. I mean, I can tell you there is no way I could, retire and go play golf 5 days a week or ski 5 days a week. I'd go bananas. There's no way I could do that. I'd lose my brain.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean you shouldn't have balance and still figure out when to go hang out with your friends and when to go play golf and when to go, do what you love to do. In my case, it's golf and skiing and traveling, right? So it's just everybody has something different that they're passionate about, fishing, whatever it is.
What are some other axioms you want to tease out?
I mean, what else do I talk about? Work-life balance, I think, is super important. We definitely touch the work-life balance. We talk about a concept that I was taught very early by my grandfather. There's 24 hours in a day, right? There's 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for play, right? Like if you're just able to kind of keep that balance, and the sleep part, like, you should sleep 8 hours, right? 7
The
or 8.
sleeping and life thing. What is that? What is that again?
Yeah.
Note to self. Find out what this life part is about.
Yeah, exactly. So just a lot of that kind of stuff, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love the book because, what I've written about in my book is the CEO toolbox. And every CEO and business owner, entrepreneur, I seem to find that we have these toolboxes, these axioms that we always go back to. Sometimes when we get off the basics. And so I love the book because it gives you a lot of the toolbox that you use and exposes you on how you use it for your success.
100%. And again, the idea is just for, to hopefully just let people start learning for themselves and have insights, right? Like I'm just trying to get people to have insight about themselves. Because if you can start self-analyzing, you can become a way better human being.
Yeah.
Right. But that's really hard to do, right? To be able to step outside of yourself and look at yourself and actually do a self-analysis is really hard for people to do.
How important then would you say that's self-accountability too, right?
Well, I'll tell you what happens on that. And it's a perfect example. I just kind of thought about this right now, but I'm on 2 reality television shows. I've had a lot of co-stars on reality television. I've had a lot of husbands, a lot of wives, a lot of friends, a lot of all that stuff, right? I've been doing it now for 13 years, over 300 episodes. It's a lot, right? But I can tell you that most people, when they look at themselves on television and they watch themselves, they actually reflect and learn something about themselves that they didn't know they had. And that's what I mean by taking yourself out of your own body and being able to look back, right? Most of us don't have the ability to be on reality television and have a camera on you 24/7 so that you can actually go watch yourself and find out what you like about yourself or what you don't like about yourself, right? So the whole idea is to be able to step outside of yourself and look back and have a self-analysis. What do you do every day? Is it stuff that you're happy about? Are you going to sleep happy, about what you did that day? Or are you just, hiding something? Are you tricking yourself? Because we all have the ability to trick ourselves. I can tell you about 5 years ago, I weighed, 242 pounds. Okay. And I was on a boat. I was on a yacht with my wife. And I look at her and I go, not bad for a 45-year-old, right? And she goes, not bad. You're fat as fuck, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about, right? And I literally walked into the room. I looked at the mirror. I looked at myself. I'm like, fuck, I am fat as fuck. But I was tricking myself, okay? Yeah. And so until somebody tells you that, until you do that self-analysis, right, you're just tricking yourself.
Definitely. And you lost the weight. Did you drop the weight down?
I dropped the weight. Yeah. All the way down.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Losing weight is hard to do. So I commend anybody who does it. And it's a bit of a challenge, especially when we get in our older ages. I did the same thing you did, where you see yourself on TV and you learn from your issues, but mine was on cops. I was getting arrested. No, I wasn't. That's a joke, people. But I thought it was funny. But no, anytime I used to get depressed about life, I used to watch the show Cops, and then I'd be like, I get done after an hour or two, and I'd be like, wow, my life is fucking amazing. I love my life.
Really good about myself right now. Yeah.
That's my self-motivational book. Watch Cops, and you'll feel better at the end of the day, unless you're the guy on it. There you go.
I love it.
It's been wonderful to have you. Anything more you want to tease out of the book, or tell people to encourage them to go buy the book?
Guys, I encourage you, go read The Dealmaker, listen it to on audio, read it. It's great. I've had some amazing reviews, and let me know how you like about it. I know we've already started to change some people's lives, and I hope that this helps you guys out. So I hope you get something out of it, because that's the only reason I did it.
There you go. Awesome sauce. Give us your .com so people can find you guys on the interwebs.
Again, the agency, re.com, company, the agency, and myself is Umansky at Umansky18 on Instagram. Umansky18 on Instagram.
There you go. Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate you coming on the show, Mauricio.
Mr. Voss, it was a pleasure to hang out with you, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you as well. And thanks for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn/Chris Voss, and all those crazy places of the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next time. And that's